This is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep.
That's all good.
Sorry, we had an audio issue there, but Coach Jones, I asked him about what CDEP stands for. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, CDEP is something that I got from, just from mentors from afar, just from watching YouTube videos and reading books on different coaches. And, Nick Saban in Alabama, they have 5 pillars. So I wanted to kind of, Nick Saban's a guy that I really admire. I really admire how he runs his program on discipline and structure, and it showed with all the success that he had and the national championships he was able to get, not just at Alabama but at LSU, and he was able to have some success at Michigan State as well. So we really wanted to get some things implemented that we could know that can not only help the young man on the football field, but help them in life and help them be great brothers, great sons, and one day be great husbands. So it's 5 words that we really live by, and the first word is commitment, and the second word is discipline, and the third word is effort, and then pride and toughness, and we live by those every day. So every Monday we talk about commitment. We want kids to understand that before you start any process in life, you have to be committed to the process. You have to be committed to the organization. You have to be committed to your brothers. You have to be committed to doing the right things at home as well. And then we got discipline. Once you're committed, you have to continue to be disciplined in those areas so you can be successful. Discipline is the things that you don't want to do every day, but you have to continue to do them. Discipline are the things you have to do consistently to have success, and you have to do it as a whole and as a program. And then after you're committed and you have the discipline, you got to continue to get that effort daily. So our kids know the effort is key. You control your attitude and effort, so they know the effort is one of the biggest pieces we have. And then pride. Once you're committed and you've been disciplined and you have given the effort that you need to give, you start to develop pride in yourself. You start to develop pride in the community. We have a huge pride in Del City football and what we stand for and how we play on a consistent basis. And then once you get those 4 pillars, I think toughness starts to build. You become a tough person. You're able not only to deal with the tough things on the football field, you're able to deal with the tough things in life. If somebody passes away, you could deal with that. Or if, you might not get the scholarship offer you want, you could deal with that. Or you may lose your starting position, but you're a tough person. Or, so we think those 5 pillars really have got us to the level we're at. So CDEP is not something you just see on the back of the jersey. It's not just a hashtag. It's something that our program really lives by, and we're going to continue to live by, and we're going to continue to have success because we go by those 5 pillars.
Oh, that's outstanding. I mean, I have to confess, when I saw the DEPT, I thought that was short for department.
Department of winning. I'll tell you that.
Well, you're doing good with that so far. So,
Yes, sir.
as I mentioned, but I didn't have the audio up, Del City won their first-round playoff game, beating Shawnee 31-0. Coach, what's interesting is you decided to go back to Cash at the beginning of the game as quarterback.
Absolutely.
How did he look out there, given that he was battling an ankle injury?
Well, it looked like he was hobbled. I mean, everybody that watched it looked like even my mom called me. And I know she don't know a whole bunch about football, but she knows enough to watch it. But he looked like he was injured. He looked like a player that had an injury, and he was battling through it. I feel like he's a young man that led us to 9 victories. So I feel like he deserved, if he felt like he can go, and he felt like he had enough in him to be able to go out there and lead us, he needed to be the guy. I mean, he's our quarterback. He's been the quarterback all year. He played through it. He got through much of the game as he could. And we're blessed to have a quarterback, a backup quarterback like Sincere, to be able to come in and step in and help us get these 3 wins in the past 3 weeks. So, Cash is our quarterback. He's our starting quarterback. So if he's able to go, he's going to be the guy that's going to be out there.
Okay, well, I'll ask plenty more questions about the game, but let's go ahead and bring in the players you have with us.
Absolutely.
We got a few players we're going to talk to, so go ahead.
Yeah, we'll start with Shane Thornton. He's been on here before, senior offensive lineman. This is his second year starting. We all know it starts in the trenches. Shane has great character, great in the classroom. He's been a consistent player for us. Our offensive line sets the tone. That's where everything starts for us offensively. He's been a huge piece of what we've been doing the last couple of years, and I'm excited to see him continue to grow. He's going to be a college football player, and I think as we continue to progress in the season and we get into December and January, there'll be a lot of colleges that want to bring him on and make him part of their university and make them part of their program. So Shane's been real huge for us. Then we have Rickland Holmes, the number 1 linebacker in his class. But I also think if we didn't have such a huge base of running backs the last 3 or 4 years, Rickland possibly could be the number 1 running back in his class as well. Just a great kid, well-rounded, really takes academics serious. He also has great character as well. He represents everything that stands for CDEP. They both do. They're both captains as well. Rickland's been making plays since he was a freshman. He was a sophomore All-State defensive player. He was the only sophomore that was selected on the defensive team as far as All-State. So I think the film speaks for itself for Rickland. So we're excited to have him here. We're excited to have him on our team.
All right, guys, glad you're here. Rickland, we'll start with you. So you had a touchdown run at the beginning of the game, I believe. How many yards was it?
37, I believe.
37-yard touchdown run to start the scoring. And I remember Coach Jones has told me that, last year he didn't feel like Rodney Fields was as fresh as he wanted him to be. And you play linebacker like Rodney does.
Yes, sir.
How fresh do you feel when you go out there and are at running back now, because you've been alternating reps at running back with some other players?
I feel like I've been very fresh, actually, because the running back rotation we have with Caleb Blackwolf and when Jeremiah Miles was with us, I believe he will be back this week, but, be happy to have him back. The running back rotation that we have gives me and Blackwolf a breather, so we can go out there fresh on defense, don't want to give up any plays, don't want to be short-ended. I feel like the running rotation we have keeps me fresh and keeps me ready to go.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you guys on defense pitched a shutout.
Yes,
sir. What went well for you guys, and how do you feel like you did at linebacker last Friday?
What I do at linebacker, I wouldn't be able to do it without the trenches, without the people in the trenches. The D linemen, they take care of their job every game, and without them, we wouldn't be able to pitch a shutout like that. Okay,
now Shane, good to talk to you again. Now I remember, I want to bring this up from a few weeks earlier. Again, the game against Claremore when Cash got hurt, there was a player that was kind of staying on top of him, and you stood up for him by getting that player off him. It technically is a penalty. But But I was like, yeah, that's what an offensive lineman should do for his quarterback, even if it's a penalty.
Yep.
What was that? Was that understood by you? Did your coaches kind of affirm that with you after that play?
Yes, sir. The player was really just kind of laying on Cash, and I heard Cash kind of screaming, and him being a sophomore. I'm not a father, but you know what I'm saying. I protect the QB, and it's almost like my little brother out there. And if I hear my little brother screaming at someone, not get him off of him, I have to get him off, and I'll do it again proudly.
Yeah, it showed the right mentality. Like you said, look at your little brother there. How do you feel like about your performance against Shawnee last Friday?
Could have done better, but each week we won, so I have another week to improve, and I know what to improve on now that we've watched film.
So you say watching film. What are some things that when you saw in film, you're like, okay, I'm going to make sure I do this upcoming Friday?
Take my right steps, and then noticing if they're outside of the box, that I'm just locked on the DN. I just go up to DN instead of having to take my step away from him and letting him slant.
Absolutely.
And then, all right, so, Coach, there was a stretch after Katie Palmer returned an interception for a touchdown. You guys were up 14-0 early to midway in the first, and then you didn't score after that until up to halftime.
Yeah.
And there was one drive I think was killed with penalties from different players.
Yeah.
There's another drive where you guys got stuffed on 4th and 1.
Yeah.
And then maybe some plays that the receivers could have made but didn't. I don't know if you call them drops or how you feel about those.
It's a drop.
Yeah. So did you tie all that together at halftime to mention, or was there one aspect of that maybe upset you a little bit more than the others?
Yeah, I tied it together. I think, I told them that if you are sincerely happy with that performance, then you're not being honest with yourself. We had penalties. We left a lot of plays on the field. It was at the quarterback position. It was guys that were open that we did not see. We didn't go through our progressions correctly. The penalties, we just been real sloppy the last couple weeks. And they're going to have to grow up. If they want to talk about being a championship team and they want to talk about beating championship teams, you can't play like that. You can't continue to get penalties and put yourself in that hole. And most times when you get penalty, it becomes from laziness. It comes from in the heat of the moment, you're not making the right decision or you're not using the right technique. So we knew that wasn't Del City football. I gave them a spirited conversation in the locker room, and we came out on the first play in the third quarter and we scored. So whatever I said worked, But this team is very mature. We have played in a lot of football games, a lot of big football games, so we never felt like the control of the game was out of hand. Coach Madonna and his staff does a great job, so I think people get so spoiled by the way we've been scoring offensively this year that anytime we struggle, it's kind of outside the norm, which is a positive, but sometimes you're going to go through those things, and I was glad that we were able to overcome that adversity and do what we need to do to get in the second half to get some points and get that victory. A lot of people said, man, what happened? They asked me what happened in the game. I said, what happened is we won a playoff game 31-0. Last time I checked, if you win by 1, it's a win. So if people are asking what happened when we won 31-0, that's a positive. It kind of shows where our program is at this point.
All right, so Shane, in that stretch where it wasn't going great for your offense, what was more disappointing for you? Was it some of the penalties, or like when you didn't convert on 4th and 1? Like did any aspect of those things really get you going?
Yeah, the 4th and 1, it was my mistake. I didn't go out to the ISO and called 20 ISO, didn't get the end, and he made the play on 4th and 1. Yeah. That was really just,
Okay, then, but after that, you halftime can adjust what mentally or whatever you need to do. How do you feel like you did in the second half?
Second half, we definitely came out better. Third quarter, first play we run was touchdown, so everyone's spirits back up. And we're like, yeah, let's go, and we got it.
Ricklin, how do you feel about how the offense responded in the second half?
I feel like we responded well. We went in the locker room with a mentality that we're up, but you can't forget about the players out there. They can still make plays, so you can't let your foot up off the gas. Yep. And when we go back out there, it's 0-0, so play like it's 0-0.
Absolutely.
Now, Coach, there was that third quarter incident where Shawnee, the backup center, got real upset at J.J. Cheatham, and I just thought it was – and I tried to watch what was going on before then. It just seemed like it was just normal offensive line versus defensive line stuff that got him upset.
Yeah.
But I was impressed, as Colton mentioned, that no one from your team responded to that because he wanted to fight your guys, and they didn't do anything. They were like, whatever. They didn't faze them. Yeah,
a couple scenarios in that. We have a discipline program, and I think that I have enough control that they know that they're not going to go fight somebody. They go fight somebody, they're going to go fight themselves to the locker room. They understand that if you go on that field, you go swing or throw a punch, the referee's not going to have to kick you out. I'm going to kick you out. We're not going to do things like that. You have a helmet and shoulder pads. That's what that's used for. You don't need to be throwing punches on the football field. Secondly, we understand the importance of we can't afford. At that time, I couldn't remember the score. but we felt like we
21-0.
It was 21-0. So we felt like we were in control of the game to where we knew we were going to be moving on to the second round. If you get ejected, you're suspended for 2 games. So nobody wants to take that risk to, as a senior, to have your career possibly end in that fashion, and nobody wants to put their team in that kind of mode. We know that fighting on the football field shows lack of discipline. It shows lack of understanding what's at stake for your program. And you have to have enough wisdom to know that if you're going to fight with your shoulder pads and helmets, fight between the whistles. So our program has a lot of structure and a lot of character, so we're not going to make those kind of mistakes.
Yes, sir.
All right, Shane Rickland, when you saw that go on, were you at all tempted to get in the middle of it, or what was your mentality while that was going on?
My mentality when I saw it all go down, it was first to get all of my players, make sure they weren't throwing punches, and then once I saw they weren't reacting, I got myself to the sideline.
Yeah.
Okay. Shane, same with you?
Yeah, seeing it from the sideline, I knew I couldn't run out on the field. Like keep the players that thought they were going to go on the field, keep them back from going on the field, because that's a 2-game suspension too.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and show the bracket real quick here for Del City. So they're going to play Bishop McGuinness this Friday. We'll talk more about them in a moment. And if Del City wins, then next Friday, over Thanksgiving break, they would play the winner of Carl Albert and Claremore. Of course, both games on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Sure. Now, set the stage here about Bishop McGuinness. So last year when they were going to play at Midwest City, I put a graphic together about them because I did some little bit of internet research, and I know that they have not won a district title in several years because they were in the same district with Carl Albert. And what does that mean? It means you got to play road games in the playoffs. First round, definitely second round. And they won a lot of road games. So let's go ahead and show this graphic real quick here. This is from last year, and it's now outdated because last year they ended up winning at Midwest City and then winning at Bishop Kelly. So we're talking since 2017, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 6, 7 road playoff wins. And even one game they lost by 1 point to Bishop Kelly. I threw that one in there.
Yeah.
So they have a recent tradition of going on the road and winning. And this particular team, even though they have a new head coach, is playing real well. They were outstanding in the second half against Lawton MacArthur in a game they really wanted to win to get a 2 seed, and they did.
Yeah.
And then they just dominated against Lawton High. So what can you say about Bishop McGuinness? You saw them back 3 years ago in 2021, but obviously a very different team. And what stands out to you about the Irish?
Well, first, this has been a rivalry. This is my 8th year at Del City. We've played them, I believe, 6 times. And every game either went into overtime or went into the last possession of the fourth quarter. They're a very physical football team. They're very well coached. And they're going to challenge you mentally. They're going to challenge you physically. Just from a scheme standpoint, they're going to be able to you're going to have to know your assignment. You're going to have to know how you need to play at your particular position. So our kids understand that. We got all the respect in the world for this team. It's the second round of the playoffs. And to me, it never mattered where you're playing at. A lot of people talk about home and away advantage. I have never brought that up to our kids one time about playing at home and playing away. Just when we step in between the lines, that's when CDEP steps in. And that game is already going to be won for what the team has done up to that point. So we feel like we've done all the things in the summer. We feel like we did all the things this week and the previous weeks to be able to go have success. So Bishop McGuinness is a very great team. We know that we can't turn the ball over. We can't have penalties. We just got to play together as a family. We got to understand there's going to be some adversity. There's going to be some times that things don't go right, similar to how our offense was having that little lull. But our defense was able to step up and have our back, and it's going to be sometimes we have to have their back. That's part of the family atmosphere that we have. But very respectable team. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a physical game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the challenge that it gives our program. I'm looking forward to the challenge that it gives these young men, and especially the seniors, to be able to play in these type of games. That's why they came to Del City. That's why they've been putting all the work in. We had a lot of lopsided victories this year. It's about time that we get to play a game that we have to get ready to go and tie our shoes up and be ready to go hit somebody in the mouth and take those hits in return. So we're excited about it, and we're excited about playing a great program like Bishop McGuinness.
All right, Shane, what do you think about the Irish, particularly their defensive line?
Defensive line, they're definitely some physical guys. Got some height at nose guard, and then number 54, don't know his name, but he's very violent with his hands. Heard a lot about him. Then the other DN, I've watched film on him. Very violent with his hands, too.
Yep.
All right, Rickland, what do you study more about McGuinness, their offense, their defense?
I really don't study one more than the other since I played both of the sides of the ball. But what sticks out most to me is their offense because the quarterback that they have, he's very elusive. He moves around well, and then the running back that they have, he runs hard. When he has the ball in his hands, you better be on your stuff.
Mm-hmm. He's physical, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're not done talking Del City football, but we are going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to two new players of the Eagles as they're getting ready for a massive game, of course, against Bishop McGuinness. So don't go anywhere. We're coming right back on the Oklahoma Sports Network. All right, we hope you enjoyed that OSN promo here, but we're not done talking Del City football. Okay, Coach, who do we have with us now?
Starting over here to our far right is Chauncey Jones. He's been on the show before, another senior offensive lineman, captain, 3-year starter. Another great young man on and off the field. Takes care of his business in the classroom, takes care of his business as far as his character. Just another senior piece that really paves the way. All our success on offense starts in the trenches, so he's another one of those big pieces. Same thing with Quaylen Goodman, another 3-year starter, a young man who played center for us for 2 years, and he moved over to the guard and really has set the tone of this year with our physicality as far as the offensive line goes. And our offense doesn't go if Chauncey, Q, and Shane, if they don't set the tone and they don't get us going, we don't go offensively. And that's what I said earlier in the year when we had the Vibe magazine. I told Mark Rogers that if our offensive line doesn't go, Del City doesn't go. So all the success we had the year goes to these two young men and Shane. They just doing a great job. And, out of their 4 years of being in Del City football, they got 3 district championships, a state championship appearance, a lot of success, and all that success started up front. So I'm excited to have him here on the show tonight.
All right, Chauncey, we'll start with you. Where on the O-line do you play?
Left tackle now.
Left tackle, okay, very important position there. What was the attitude like at halftime after you guys had some offensive struggles, and how did you get better as an O-line? How did you get better on the field?
I told them if we want to win that game, we have to pick it up front to give everybody else confidence. Once we start running the ball and start driving it down their throat, then there's nothing they can do, and we have to start picking it up, and we start with some success in the second half.
All right, Quaylen, remind me, where do you play on the O-line?
Right guard.
Right guard, okay. Same question to you. Again, not the standard that Del City has on offense after that. After you got to 14 on the scoreboard, but then you pick things up in the second half. What was that transition like from maybe not playing as well as you want to as a team to then halftime and then to playing better in the second half?
We just came in the half. We said it was 0-0. We had to go out there, be physical, and just be dominant up front. Everything played a part.
All right, Quaylen, brag on yourself some. I believe you won Player of the Game.
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, what all went into that? Because I think it was because of what you're doing on both sides of the ball.
Yes, sir. I play offense. I play right guard. On defense, I play nose guard and defensive tackle.
Okay, and what were some highlights for you on defense then?
I had I had 2 sacks.
Two
couple
sacks.
tackles for loss, pancakes on the offensive line. So it all went hand in hand.
Okay, and that had to be very rewarding then,
Yes,
just to get recognized because this is stuff you've been doing the whole season though, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, Chauncey, do you get any playing time on defense? Some?
Yes, sir. I got a little bit of playing time on defense.
Okay, and what was the challenge against Shawnee? And they didn't score any points, but they completed some passes down the field. What do you feel like? Because your defense was steady the whole time. So what went well for your defense there, Chauncey?
Well, once we started seeing them pick up on getting a lot of passing yards, had to tell D-line that we got to start getting after the quarterback, close that pocket down, don't give him no time to make his reads. Once he started doing that, he started getting flushed and started throwing picks, and then started going downhill for them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that third quarter incident, what was going through you guys' minds? Were you out there, Quaylon, when that happened?
No, sir. I was on the sideline.
Okay.
I was just trying to make sure everybody didn't run out to the field, make sure we stay locked in and focused. We didn't want none of that to distract us. We got things ahead.
Well, you never really even attempted to respond to what he was doing.
Nah.
Chauncey, what about you?
I just seen JJ trying to walk away from it.
To his credit, yeah.
I just kept telling him, come to the sideline. Don't even feed into it. We already winning. Don't feed into that negative energy. We got another thing to do next week.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you know what's interesting, Coach, is the guy from Shawnee that ended up getting ejected. He was the backup center. The previous center comes back in, and I think 2 plays later had a bad snap that you guys recovered. So
yeah,
that was a big play to kind of clinch things for you guys.
Yeah, you know, anytime a center has a bad snap, it's usually because he's worried about the person in front of him. And
right.
Quaylon Goodman on that play that he had the bad snap, got a great get off, got underneath his pads and really kind of drove him backwards. And he, you know, it was almost a forced. Well, it wasn't almost. It was a forced fumble. It was a play that really kind of sealed the deal for us because we went up 28-0 once we got that turnover. So that's a testament to you have to make wise decisions. That young man made a decision to fight somebody with a helmet on for whatever reason,
yep.
and it ended up hurting his team. So our young man can use that as a lesson that you're never going to win a fight with somebody with a helmet on, but you can win it if you play the game of football in between the whistles. So our young man know that, and I'm glad they made a good decision with that.
Now, how nice was it? I believe I'm saying this right, but correct me if I'm wrong, you got your first field goal of the season?
Yeah, we got our first field goal of the season, yeah. Well, it's crazy. Last week I said in front of the team that I just had a feeling that Tony was going to have to win a big game for us. At some point in time, I just felt like he was going to have to make a kick that was going to be huge and have a huge impact on the game. And that kick was huge. You know, we need to get confidence that we can make a field goal at that distance. I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been a 25-yarder.
It was definitely not an extra point.
Yeah,
it was
I believe the ball was on the 10, and it was at an angle. It was a tough angle. It was on the right hash. So for him to be able to step up and make that shows that if we do need to call upon him in a heated moment, and in a moment that has a lot of pressure, we feel like he has the confidence, and we have the confidence in him that he could do it.
And you guys, for the third straight Monday, there was no school.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were able to take advantage of that and do some things you may have normally not been able to do.
Yeah, we was able to have a good powwow and watch it, an hour and a half, a couple hours of film.
Yep.
And we had a long practice. It was raining, so we came inside and we waited the weather out so nobody can get injured from the wet surface. We were able to have a long film session, and I feel like we came out and we had our best 2 practices the last 2 days, and that's what you want to be doing at this point in time in the year. You want to be having your best practices in November, and those are our best 2 practices the last 2 days. And I think the film study and the time we spent in there together, just meshing together and watching film and correcting mistakes and not taking things personal really helped us out.
All right, last question for you, Coach.
Yeah.
Kind of a 2-parter. How are you divvying up quarterback reps, and do you know what you want to do at quarterback against McGinnis?
Yeah, absolutely. Cash will be starting.
Okay.
I said that last week. As long as Cash is healthy enough to where he feel like he can get out there and I feel like he can go, Cash will be the starter. We'll kind of play it by ear how we handle packages with Sincere. He's obviously a great runner. He gives you something with his feet. He also gives you something with his arm. So it'll be opportunities throughout the game that we will utilize him, but Cash is the starter. He helped get us to this point. I got a motto that and the standard that I go by, that if you're a starter, you never lose your starting position from an injury, and he's not going to lose that position. Sincere's playing great, and he'll be ready when his number's called like he has been, but Cash will be rolling out there Friday night as a starter.
All right, Chauncey and Quaylon, question to you both. Do you have any type of different mentality when there's a different quarterback in, or is it the same for you no matter what?
Same time every time, because I know what they're capable of doing every time. And as long as we protect our quarterback, it's going to be the same result and everything. There's no different mentality. They get the same treatment as Cash. Everybody go get blocked up, and y'all go stay protected. You got to stay clean. Number 1 rule.
All right, Quaylon?
Yeah, you pretty much said it all. I mean, there's no downfall. There's no excuse, no nothing. They both good quarterbacks. Yep. They're going to do the job. We're going to do our job.
All right.
Sure.
What are you guys' thoughts about McGinnis?
They're a great team, great physical team, and I just know that if we come out and play how we've been playing, then it's going to be a tough day for both sides. And great team, watching film on them. They got some tough stuff that we got to pick it up. They'll come out with the victory.
All right, Quaylen?
I always say the game's won in the trenches, so if our defensive line and offensive line come to play, we're going to win the game.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, this game that Quaylen speaks of will be this Friday. Kickoff will be 7 o'clock. Pre-game coverage on the Oklahoma Sports Network will be 6:30. Again, there'll be Captain Kilty and Colton Fleetwood bringing you the game. A really interesting game going on between two quality programs in the Oklahoma City area, Bishop McGuinness and Del City. And, of course, it's at Robert Calsu Stadium, so be sure to go to the game if you can, but also watch the game if you can on your phone, the Oklahoma Sports Network app, or be sure to watch playback of the game however you want to watch it, whenever you want to watch it. And it'll definitely be a game that I'll be tuning into live as well. I can't wait to watch it. So, Coach, guys, thank you very much.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
coming up next, we'll talk Carl Albert football. Coach Jones, I was going to say, with one of your old coaches, Mike Goff.
Oh, yeah, that's my old defensive coordinator. Coach Goff, he's coming up and talking.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he was my defensive coordinator. Tell him I said what's up.
I will do
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you. Back with more after this.
Whataburger's new Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double.
Sounds like a 5-alarm fire.
Not really, Frank. The jalapeno cream cheese, jalapeno ranch, and pickled jalapenos give it a pleasant heat.
So like a 4-alarm?
Nope. It's a delicious controlled blaze.
Like a little kitty stuck in a tree alarm.
Nah, hotter than that. Let's say the 2.5 alarm Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double. I think the pole's broken.
New Whataburger Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double. It's just a little hot.
College is more than just going to class. College is a journey. It's meeting new people and making new friendships that will last a lifetime. It's learning from professors who care about you and your success. And finding out it can be really fun and rewarding. It's discovering that thing you want to do for the rest of your life. Cameron University is all about helping you grow and succeed. Because your success is our success.
Have you ever seen an insurance commercial and ask yourself, are they really telling me the truth? Well, guess what? They're not.
Somebody runs a red light and you think all of a sudden their insurance company's going to be all neighborly about it? Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money. They're in the business of keeping your money.
So remember, save our number in your phone so when tragedy strikes,
call Rob and Will.
All right, welcome back to the Oklahoma Sports Network. We got the Mid-Dale Coaches Show on, and I've been waiting to do this for a while. We're going to talk Carl Albert football with their color commentator, Mike Goff. And like I said, I've been very excited, looking forward to do this for quite a bit here. Now, Coach Goff, where to even begin here? This is your third year doing a color commentator for Carl Albert, correct?
It is. Third year. Kurt wrote me into this 3 years ago, and I've loved it ever since.
Yes, and what have you noticed is I'll ask you about being a broadcaster now, as you are. What have you noticed about some of the nuances of analyzing a game and talking about it, as opposed to because you've been coaching for so long?
Wow, that's a great question. I have thought about. I try and go into it like I'm a coach, and I'm explaining to the audience what I see as a coach. For instance, I was a defense coordinator, and I check out a lot of the other team's defensive formations, what they're trying to do. Then I go to the offensive formations and see what they're trying to do. And it's just I just try and explain what they're doing, and Kurt and I have such a good time doing it.
Yeah, and you last coached at Carl Albert in 2017?
2017 was my last year, yes, sir.
Yeah. So you had a few years between coaching at Carl Albert and then being the color commentator. Were you still involved with the program? Were you still keeping busy?
I was not.
Okay.
When I got out, my wife and I, we had new grandbabies, a grandbaby, and then more grandbabies and more grandbabies.
Yeah.
And we were involved quite a bit with them. My dad was in his mid to late or early 90s, and we were taking care of him. And so I was pretty busy doing all other things.
So you would just hear over through the grapevine, Crawford wins another state title, and you're like, oh, what else is new?
Well, after I retired, we graduated on the defensive side of the ball. We graduated. Every one of them were seniors. And I thought, after I retired, they're not going to be as good next year. Well, they turn around and win. They go undefeated again and win like 2 more state titles.
Yeah, they went undefeated in 2018.
Yeah.
That was the very next year. And, I mean, in this year's team, Coach, and we're going to jump around a bit here, but I kind of had the same feeling like, okay, maybe this is when they'll be vulnerable because they have a brand-new offensive line.
Exactly.
And then the defensive line was pretty new, too.
All new.
Yeah, but it was like, no big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, and you never know, but they just sometimes new units can gel right away, and sometimes they can take a while.
Right, and I think it's a lot of it has to do with how they've prepared through the years. Sometimes Carl Albert will get ahead of people, and then they put the next group in, and then the next group, and so they played. They had played, and then our JV schedule is really tough, and so, like I said, they have played, so they've been in the wars. They just have to hit it up a notch.
Exactly, and then so then the question with next year's Carl Albert team will be, well, all that speed they're losing, what will they do? And I know they'll have one guy in Jackson Webster, but I'm not sure about the other guys, but wouldn't be surprised to find out they're actually pretty good too.
I believe they'll show people that they are. I mean, I don't know that they'll win a state championship. I don't know that this group will win a state championship.
Right.
But they'll be very well prepared. The coaches are really good at doing that, and their athletes.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so let's go back a bit of ways. So last coaching in 2017, how many years were you a high school football coach?
High school, I was 8 in a junior high.
Okay.
And then, so that had been, I moved over to Del City High School in 85, and then from there on I was a high school coach.
Okay.
So from 85 to 17, what is that, 32 years?
33
years.
Yeah. And then you came to Carl Albert in 95. But that is interesting. Of course, you've been at Del City, so you're familiar with them. And this next question I'm about to ask you, I want to first go back to last week. After we got done with the show last week, I have the mindset where I'm already thinking about what's going to go out next week because I'm here and it's just fresh in my mind. And so I'm thinking about what am I going to ask Coach Goff? And this question came to my mind as I was putting stuff up at this table, and that was how you met the legendary Gary Rose. And as I was thinking of that, I looked back over here behind me, and guess who was standing right by the waiting staff waiting to be seated?
Who?
It was Gary Rose.
Is he here?
That was last week. But,
last
week. But I was thinking about him last week.
Yeah. Well, great.
And sure enough, he was standing right there as I was thinking about that question I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So I go ahead and walk on over to him and introduce myself. And I told him what I just told you, and he was like, oh, yeah, it's synchronicity or something like that. I'm like, whatever you say, Coach, I would never disagree with you. So anyway, I thought that was a very incredible timing there.
It is.
Well, let's go back to the question, though. How did you first meet Coach Rose?
Well, I'd just been hired at Kerr Junior High in 1977, and Coach Henry Manning was the head coach at Del City High School. Gary was coaching with him at Del City High School at the time in 1977. And they were coming off of a state championship in 76.
Right.
And so in 77, I'm at Kerr, and I don't know, come here from Sikkim about football much. And so, especially competitive football. And so Henry asked us as junior high coaches to come up to some meetings before season starts to learn how their defense works and so on and so forth and offense. And Gary Rose was in charge of the defensive ends at the time at Del City High School. And he coached me up on how to coach defensive ends. And from then on, it's just been a friendship ever since.
Well, I'm surprised. I assume that should happen all the time where high school coaches reach out to their feeder middle school. But, I don't always hear about it happening. But and so at some point, was it Coach Rose who asked you to join the staff at Del City High School?
Yeah, he started out in 1974 at Del City High School.
Okay.
He was with a couple other another head coach. His name was Frank Hughes, and then Henry came in after some things happened, and so Coach Manning came in and kept Gary. Gary was already on the staff, and he kept Gary and a couple others, and the rest is history.
Okay. He asks you to join the Del City staff when he becomes head coach. Talking what Coach Rose does.
Gary was not the head coach at Del City.
So another head coach asked you to join.
Henry Manning.
Henry Manning.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay, but at some point, Coach Rose, I don't know what year was Coach Rose elevated to the Del City head coach, or was he a coordinator?
He was never the.
Okay, he was a coordinator.
He was not a coordinator.
Oh.
Henry had no coordinators.
Oh, okay.
Henry was
Kinda like Tom
offensive
Landry.
coordinator and defense coordinator. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He did both.
But then, but basically, Coach Rose got the Carl Albert job, and he took you with him.
Right. In '95, we used to go fishing a lot, and every time we'd go fishing, we'd talk about, well, if you get to be the head coach, then I'll bring you. If you get to be the head coach, I'll bring you. And that was just wherever we were going. If I had applied at Carl Albert back in '94.
Mm-hmm.
And when Todd Graham got the job, I'd applied there, and I was going to take Gary if I got the job.
Right.
Well, Todd lasted a year in '94, and then in '95 he was gone, so Gary applied for the job, and he got the job, and then he brought me.
Okay. And how many current coaches at Carl Albert were there, not from the beginning, I say, but have been there when you were still coaching there? I know Coach Farley would be one.
Coach Farley, yeah.
Is there anyone else?
Yeah, almost everybody.
Okay.
The Lawton trio, Coach Madden,
right,
Coach Herbert, Coach Whiteley, they were there my last year. It was their first year. I've known Boone Copeland for 100 years, seems like.
Yep.
Used to coach against him back years ago. Coach Vineyard. He was one of the players there my first year at Carl Albert. So Coach Vineyard, Coach Evans, Coach Gomez, Coach Mosier.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Mosier wasn't a player, but those other three, and Coach, another coach.
Right.
Four of them are former players.
Well, then you mentioned and Coach Corley, of course.
Yes.
He takes that coaching job for 4 years, wins 4 state titles, decides he wants to stay at Carl, but just does not want to be a head coach anymore.
Right.
So this goes to the question I have. It's interesting how when Coach Rose took over in the mid-'90s, they had won a couple state titles in '89 and '93, but there were two different head coaches then, and there's some instability there.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Rose comes in, and his coaches, and now it still goes on, they stay there a while. It's like they're very content.
Yeah.
At their spot, but this is their final spot. This is their calling. They're not looking for the next thing. What makes Carl Albert like that now, where it wasn't like that in the mid-'90s?
Well,
before?
I think it's a changing of a new guard has come in. Gary let us coach. I coached the defensive line and the wide receivers when we first started, and it was my baby. I was the defensive coordinator. He said, take it, do what you need to do. And so that was my thing. And then I don't think the old school coaches let you as an individual coach.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted, if they were going to be fired, they wanted to be fired because it was their problem, their mistake, not somebody else's mistake. So I think we got an opportunity to coach the way we would like our kids to be coached.
Okay. And so that's why one of the reasons Coach Farley's been around so long, and
we tried to get him away from Jeff Craig over at Del City, even before he was hired at Carl Albert. And he was so loyal. He's such a loyal individual. He was so loyal to Jeff. He wouldn't leave Jeff, even though, we said, "Hey, come on," and he stayed.
And there's a reason I'm talking about this, and I'm going to get to this in a second here. But then when I didn't realize when Coach Dunn became head coach back in 21, just how many, and all the coaches or most of them stayed, and they've been doing their thing for such a long time. And I didn't even think about what an advantage that was. But then when Carl Albert played Dell City last year in the state title game, and I started to think more about that matchup. I'm like, just seeing what they did the year before, talking about Carl Albert, blowing out teams that otherwise are having great seasons in the playoffs. It just occurred to me what a coaching advantage they have. And it's nothing against Coach Jones, who is great, or the Dell City coaches, but I was like, they're so used to all this. And they're so experienced, and I think that goes a long way to why they're so prepared in that big game.
And there's a rhythm to coaching. A lot of people don't understand that there's actually a rhythm to coaching. You go in on Saturday morning, you grade the film, you do this, you have your kids come in, you go on Sunday afternoon, you start working on a game plan. And then the kids come back in, and then you start on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and you're together for sometimes 12 hours a day or more,
right? As
a staff, and you better be a group that really likes each other. And actually, you've heard people say they're family. Well, when we were with Coach Rose and those guys, we were a family.
Yeah, for sure. And again, just the fact that there's a culture there where you have all these experienced coaches that stay. They're not looking for their next thing. They're not looking to advance. Right. They're really content where they're at.
And there are quite a few of those coaches that if we were asked could and would, I don't know that they would, but could be head coaches in different
for sure
classifications. Just for one, Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson could go anywhere right now.
Probably. The OC, yeah.
And he's the offensive coordinator and could go be a head coach anywhere. But his kids, and like I said, it's a family thing. Because his kids are both at Carl Albert. One's a sophomore wide receiver that's about 6'3" or 6'4", and the other one is a sixth grader, I believe. And he wants them to go through Carl Albert.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's where you want your students to be too. So it's very much a destination place. Okay, so you won your first state title with Coach Rose in '97.
Yes, sir.
I believe, and then that was part of 5 in a row, and so that's 97, 2001, and then again in 04. I don't remember how it worked out quite around that time, but that's obviously an amazing amount of championships to win in a short time.
It was a lot of work.
Right. Oh, for sure. This particular group, the number would be with 3 different head coaches, by the way, going back to 2016. So this is 9 years, 8 titles in 9 years is what they're going for. And so there was that in the time in between where you guys were winning but not quite as frequently. So how does this mini dynasty here maybe compare to the mini dynasty, I don't know if you want to call it that, in the late 90s, early 2000s?
Oh, my. I don't know that you could compare them.
Yeah.
The athletes, we've been very blessed with really good athletes at Carl Albert, even back whenever I was coaching in the late 90s and early 2000s, and then through the middle of the 2000s, we were blessed with many really good athletes, and this group is the same way.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I feel, most of them are homegrown. We very rarely, whenever I was coaching back in the day, we very rarely had anybody move in. We had maybe one kid move in that could help us. And they'd moved in from, I can't remember where he was from, Santa Fe or someplace like that, Edmond, Santa Fe. And he was there for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, now in the transfer portal, I guess high school has their own version, so things are going to be different now. But Carl Albert's an attractive place. People want to come play there.
Exactly.
It's not like they're doing anything wrong with that.
But the only thing is they have to have a space for them. It's not like, oh, you're an athlete, come on.
Right.
I don't think Ms. Goggins would do that, or
head principal,
Coach Dunn would do that.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than just, come on.
Well, it's amazing this senior class. 3 OU commits, and there's 2 more last year. One, Kevin Sperry moved on to Texas, but then you got X Xavier. Before X, I think it was like 20-some years before there was an OU commit. Now, there's obviously great teams, great players. It's just kind of amazing how it worked out that way. J.D. Runnels, who you coached, obviously, was a commit in the class of 02. X, class of 24. And then 3 more to follow now. That's kind of that's amazing. That it's all come together like that. And then the senior class, we mentioned those three: Marcus James, Tristan, and Trinae.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Carvion Young, who's committed to Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State.
As far as raw talent goes, this senior class, Ethan Spiewak, mentioned him, of course, the Todd James, Oku, all that.
Mm-hmm.
How does this compare to other talented senior classes?
Well, as a collection, I don't know that we ever had that many at one time. I was just talking to a guy this morning at breakfast, and in the middle of the Carl Albert defense, you have one of the better athletes at 6'1", 210, 215 in Caden Davis. Then next to him, you have 6'4", 220, 6'4", 220, and you got a guy behind him at 6'4", 220. And so,
who can move?
And all of them can move.
Yeah, they can fly. Yeah. It's just an incredible talented class, and maybe the best kicker they ever had.
Exactly. He is the best kicker they've ever had.
And Devin Woodring has been a great quarterback.
He's come in and did a wonderful job. And that goes back to he played a lot in JV. He played a lot in mop-up or whatever, and he's been there.
Yeah.
He's been in the fight.
Right. So even though it was his first year, he was ready to go.
Yes.
And, and again, you can go on. I mean, go in like Daniel Newton, who's been hurt.
Yeah.
But he's obviously talented. He's going to Air Force. So,
Mm-hmm.
let me ask you this: you've known Mike Dunn since he was a freshman in middle school. I don't know when.
Maybe a little before then.
Yeah. And then he goes on this coaching journey, and he comes back to Carl Albert, now the head coach. Talk about the transformation you've seen with him, and into how he's now the caretaker, and he's basically kept the ship going very steadily.
I think he was mentored very well by Coach Rose,
mm-hmm.
and some other coaches that I don't know about in Texas.
Yes, for sure.
Robert did a wonderful, they worked together so well together while they were in Texas and then over at Dell City. I think he has a way about him of explaining things. He was an English major, so he can talk really well. And I think, other than Coach Rose, he does the best interview of anybody I've ever seen as a high school.
Yeah, I love interviewing him.
Yeah, he's great.
Quite a bit. Yeah,
he's great.
So, and then Coach Jones, since he was a junior, I think he came from U.S. Grant.
Yes.
Early 2000s to Carl Albert. And in his case, I don't know his 4 years at Dell City's ever been more consistently good. I know they've had a state championship team, but the last 4 years, Dell City football has been so good. Have you? And you've been around them. Have you ever? Has this been one of the best stretches for Dell City as well?
Oh yeah, I believe so. I mean, how many times they hadn't been to the finals?
Yeah.
For 40 years until last year? 76?
47.
47 years?
Yeah.
So, I mean, go figure. Yeah, he's done a wonderful job, and Mike started a lot of that.
That's right. But it surprised you that when you knew them as high schoolers, if you think of it that way, like, did you see it in them that they could be head coaches, or is that even something you would notice?
I would have never thought that. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
If anything, I might have noticed Mike, but I didn't.
You were around him longer.
Yeah, yeah. But I didn't think. And I coached Mike. I mean, I was his position coach.
Yeah.
Robert, I wouldn't have thought that, just because he went on to college and went on to play in college and did all that. And I just assumed that if he was going to do anything, if he was going to coach, it would be in the college ranks, not in the high school ranks.
All right. Well, it's worked out well for Dell City for sure.
It really has.
Now, let's talk about, well, first of all, Midwest City was a very business-like performance. I don't know if there's really anything, unusual there. The only unusual thing in that game is just what Carl Albert does. They've got the big play abilities, and they slow you down. Eventually they'll stop you on defense. They may give it a first down here and there, but not much after that. Was the unusual, I don't know, if it was a play call on the kickoff to begin the second half when Todd James, I think, threw a backwards pass to Tristan. And I was like, is that just Coach Farley kind of warming things up for the next coach scouting them?
Well, and that's I even mentioned that in the broadcast. I said, they tried that, and it's probably they wanted to put it on film so that other people will have to work on it.
Right.
People used to do that to us all the time. It used to make me so dadgum mad. But, we'd go ahead and work on it, and we'd take, a half a day working on that thing or working on a fake field goal or a fake punt or something like that, and it just used to make me so dadgum mad.
Yeah, it didn't work out well
no.
on that play, but it still gives you something to think about. So
Yes.
it was like, what are they doing here? But hey, like I said, it gave the next coach, special teams coach, something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
That special teams coach would be whoever the coach is of Claremore.
Correct.
Now, now that you're back into being a part of the football game now as a color commentator, do you watch film any different of the Carl Albert opponent, or is it pretty much like you're coaching again?
No, it's kind of like I was coaching again. I go by and on Mondays, sometimes Sundays, and get a scouting report from Coach Herbert.
Okay.
Which he breaks down all the offense, all the defense, and all that good stuff. I go by and get that, and then I start watching on Monday. Like yesterday, I watched Claremore and who was the last team that they played? McAllister.
They won at McAllister.
I watched Claremore, McAllister, and then today I watched Claremore and
they played Del City on the network.
It may be Del City. It may have been Del City.
Yeah, not too long ago.
But I'll watch another game tomorrow just to see if all the stuff jives,
right,
with what John saw and what I see.
So are you able to access stuff on Huddle? Do you watch the stream?
No, I watch Huddle.
Okay, so good, that's good.
And you can break it down into 1st and 10s, 2nd and 5s, or whatever it might be.
Okay. All right. And, all right, so that game. They went to McAllister and shut out McAllister. That's no small feat. So they won 14-0.
14-0.
What do you see in Claremore? What type of game are you expecting this Friday?
Well, they're a very balanced group. They have a quick running back. They have a couple of them. And the quarterback is not afraid to run. I was telling a guy today, we were talking about the game. Ernie Crane, Ernie Crane used to be at Twids. We had lunch together, and I was telling him that their quarterback, he's probably 6'2", 6'3", but he throws the stop route, the chain route, the sprint out pass, the timing routes, as well as anybody we played all year. He's very good at that.
All right.
And offensively, like I said, they're more balanced. Last week Midwest City was going to run the ball 90% of the time.
Yes.
They're more balanced. When they do run the ball, generally they'll be in a set that like Midwest City would have had, where they have double tights and two backs in front and leading and all that good junk.
All right, something to look forward to, guys. So it's going to be on this Friday, 6:30. The coverage, you'll hear Kirk Norman and Coach Goff set you up for this game. This will be the final home game for Carl Albert. Yep. And then if they play next week, they'll be on a neutral site. So kickoff at 7. Carl Albert hosting Claremore right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Coach Goff, thank you very much. We look forward to your broadcast.
Thank you, Jordan.
Friday. All right.
It'll be fun.
We're going to talk some Midwest City basketball coming up on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Okay.
To contest the new Whata Wings from Whataburger. What? Real wings have bones. And these boneless wings are actually premium chicken tender bites tossed in one of Whataburger's famous sauces. Honey butter, honey barbecue, buffalo, or
sweet and spicy.
And now Nashville hot? Those do not turn these Whata Wings into real wings. I know what a real wing is. That snow.
Whata Wings. Whataburger, Whata Wings. Whata Wings.
All right, welcome back to the Oklahoma Sports Network, and got Coach Knight coming in right now. She had to help a player with a headset. You'll understand why here in a minute here. But happy to finally talk Midwest City girls basketball with their coach, Megan Knight. All right, Coach, let's talk about the challenge you have, because I think last year you had 4 really good seniors, and then Markia Pratt was a junior, but she moved on. So this seems to be like the one of the more inexperienced teams you've had since you've been in Midwest City. Would that be correct?
Yes, that's exactly what we're dealing with right now, is trying to figure out our roles. People are going to have to step up this year that last year they can kind of, step back a little bit. So scrimmages have been fun, challenging, and we're learning a lot just about our new team and what we look like this year.
What was the off season like then? Because, again, I know you probably had some summer league stuff and just trying to get players ready to take on a bigger role. What's the challenge there?
The biggest thing was we're a little too unselfish at times, scoring-wise, defensively. We're doing a good job. I think we probably have a little more ball pressure than we've had because we are in their face at all times. But offensively, we're, passing the ball a little too much at times or forcing some shots just because we haven't felt comfortable. But we're getting in a rhythm. Everyone's starting to, kind of feel themselves. And so it's been good. It's been a lot of learning. I think what we're going to look like in December is going to be totally different than what we look like in March. So I'm really excited to see that because, that's always the fun part.
And how's the preseason been so far? I'm sure you played a lot of scrimmages at this point.
Yeah, we've looked really good. The last scrimmage was not our best. But before that, we were doing really good, getting a lot of shots up. We definitely are getting a lot of shots up right now. Defensively, we are in your grill, having a lot of fun. We're getting to play a lot of different people, different roles. Just seeing them kind of step up and doing their own thing. In the past, we've kind of relied on Deanna Douglas from last year, and so that's been a big thing. We don't have a Deanna Douglas. We now have Layla Jones, and so it's just a little bit different. And so they're kind of like trying to figure out, okay, this is Layla. This is not Deanna. And so it's been new for all of us, including Layla. So,
do you have any move-ins?
Yes, Layla was one.
Okay.
We have KT, Kennedy Tate. She's new for us. We have Drea Walters is back for us. We have a good group of freshmen with Bailey Guthrie. We even have Anaya, Jada. We have Diggy, which is Deanna Douglas, which is, should say, Deasia. That is Deanna Douglas's little sister. And so
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we look brand new. A lot of new faces you'll get to see this year, and so it's exciting.
Okay, who do we have with us here?
This is Sadie and Seven. Both of these young ladies were with us last year, a big part of what we did last year. So definitely we're excited that they were able to join us today.
All right. Sadie, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, I think I may have called you Sadie on the air a
You
couple times. Okay, yeah, you remember. Well, now I know better. And then Seven, of course, people may not be able to tell, but you got a brace on.
Yes.
What is the your right hand? Is that your shooting hand, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's your status? How do you hurt your hand, and then how long will it be out?
Like last Friday, not last Friday, but the Friday before last, I broke my hand in practice. Yeah.
Practice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Practice.
Were you, what was it during a drill? Was it during some 5-on-5 action?
Yeah, like we do like a sort of like free throw action for 5-on-5 to see how we look after the, after we do, like when we shoot free throws, are we blocking out and all that stuff like that. And I was going up for the rebound, and I tried to tip it out my teammate's hand. I think I got caught, and then I just heard and it was, yeah, it's bad.
What's the prognosis?
I went to my second week checkup, and I have 2 more weeks, and we see if we get this cast off.
Okay, and when you get the cast off, you still got a little bit of time before you can play?
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking mid-December, January?
Mid-December.
Mid-December, okay. All right, and then also joined by Sadie. Sadie, you were in the rotation last year.
Yes.
And now you're probably going to take on a bigger role. What do you see your role being?
A leader. I just got to lead by example because a lot of the freshmen or people that transferred over, they look up to people like us that was already there, that did play and did get burned last year. So just got to be a good leader, lead by good example.
Okay. Do you expect to handle the ball a lot?
Yes, I know I'm going to have to do
Okay.
a lot more than I would have probably had to do last year.
A lot of decision making
Yes.
coming up. And what about on defense? I mean, are you expect to defend the point
Defend-
guard, pick him up
yeah.
full court, maybe?
Yeah,
or?
that's usually what I do. I'm
Okay.
more of a defensive player than an offensive player, so yeah.
So you can be a pest out there.
Yes.
Okay. And how would you say you've gotten better since you're more of a rotation player in March of last year? How have you gotten better since then?
I would say I've gotten better a lot. I mean, I had to get better considering I have a bigger part,
Right.
like a bigger role. I have to be more of an offensive player, not just a defensive player. Try to go get mine, but also, take advantage of my teammates and it's just a really big role that I got to play now. 'Cause,
Yep.
yeah, I'm one of the top that they'll look up to because I've been here and I did play last year. So.
Okay, so Coach, I'm going to do this again. And I asked you about this 2 years ago, and I forgot to do it last year. And that is guess your starting lineup. And I always have to qualify it because you're not sure yet. Huh? Because Seven's out, so she won't be playing in game one for you. So I got to figure this out here. Now, last year, not last year, it's 2 years ago, of the 6 coaches for Middale, varsity coaches, I guessed yours right. But you wouldn't admit it because you weren't sure if you were going to start at Enid. Sierra, yeah.
Yes.
So, but anyway, I don't feel nearly as confident this time around. But you did tip your hat a bit and say that Layla was starting, you mentioned her, so I'm going to guess she's your starting center. Okay, and I can't say, I'm going to say like opening day, so I'm going to take out 7 for now.
Okay.
But I know she'll be playing when she's back. Obviously, Sadie will be one of your starters. I'm going to guess Chloe Knox, because I know she played some last year, will be a starter. And Jonae Say would be a guess. And then let's see if I had to pick one more, Kennedy Downer. How many did I get right?
Right now, so with Johnny and Layla, we can go back and forth. We actually have started them in a couple scrimmages. But you did, right now we have been starting Layla, Sadie, Chloe, Kennedy, and then between Bailey and Drea.
Okay, so I got 80% then. That's a B. Okay, and you mentioned Andrea Walter.
Yes.
You mentioned? Okay,
Yes.
is she related to the
Yes.
DJ?
Yes, she is. She is related to him.
So little sister?
Cousin.
Cousin, okay. Well, at least it's still a legacy player like we have with Deasia.
Yes, yes.
Is Deasia, I assume she's not quite as tall as
She's
Deanna.
not. They're totally, completely different players.
Okay.
She's a shooter, guard, slasher. She's a little bit meaner than Deanna. Everyone thinks she was mean, but she was a little big old teddy bear. Sometimes we had to try to make her mad just to be mean. But Deasia is definitely, we don't have to do that with her.
Okay, and let's see. Sadie.
Yes.
Do you expect opposing defenses to respect your jumper? Like, do you feel good enough about your jump shot and you're going to show that they're going to have to guard you out in the perimeter?
100%.
And 7, you weren't really a shooter when you were playing. You were a starter last year.
Yeah.
You weren't really shooting much. You like to play around the basket as kind of a slasher and
She was
crash the
our
offensive
first
glass.
3 every game. I swear, give her a hard time.
I remember incorrectly then.
Yeah, every tip-off, she just chunked it up. It either went in or it missed the whole goal.
But after she shot that 3.
Yes, there's confidence. But after that, she won't shoot another one. But that first one, it was like, let's get this out and see what this game's going to look like. That's why she's laughing over there.
How was your jump shot before you got hurt?
It was looking decent. I'm going to let it fly still.
Okay. Well, hopefully your shooting hand will be stronger than ever once you take the cast off. Okay, so let's look at your new district. Because, by the way, I would love for high school basketball to be like football and baseball where it's every 2 years.
Yeah, me too.
But
me too.
We're looking at the district right now on the screen. So I see, I know Del City. I expect them to be good.
Yes.
I know Class and SAS had some really good teams in 4A, I think.
Yes. They'll still be very good.
Right, and then Lawton will be a team that will probably show their games against you because they're also with the Oklahoma Sports Network, same with Altus. But how would you break down this new district you're in?
I would say obviously the Del City game is going to be a big game for us, rivalry, but also they're very talented. A lot of great talent over there with Shelby and all the returners, and so that's really good for them. And then they got an incoming freshman that is extremely, talented. So she will be good. Klassen SAS is going to be good. They got a lot of good players. They lost a few, but I still expect them to be one of the top people. Duncan as well. Duncan only lost, I think, 5 games last year. And
okay,
so
they're in 4A.
And they returned 7 of their top 7, I think. It's what I've been told. And so they'll be very competitive. We get to open up with them. So that'll be a good test for us. It's kind of like back when we were in 6A when we always had to open up with PC North and just see what we were working with. So that would be good. But obviously it's a new district. We're going to have to get some new faces. Like we got to figure out what Altus is going to look like. And so, it's exciting. It's we know what Klassen's going to do. We play them every single year. We kind of know what Del City's going to do. And so.
And you beat Class SAS, I think, in the tournament last year. It was close.
Yes, it was by the last second kind of shot, and then we fouled. Deanna Douglas fouled Skylar at the end of the game, and she missed her free throw. So we kind of, squeaked that one by.
Okay.
Ladies,
is there a particular game you're looking forward to?
Del City.
District opponent. Well, Del City, girls basketball, they have not beaten Midwest City since like 2015.
Yeah, we haven't been. I tell them all the time, I've never been beaten by Del City, and I don't expect it to be this year. So
well, they're gunning for you.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
They're gunning for you, so you got a gun for them. Anyone else you're excited about playing?
Klassen, maybe.
Yeah.
Duncan, I guess.
I'd say, Duncan definitely because it's the opener. It's our first game.
First home game. Yeah. And senior night.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's look. Yeah, that'll be senior night, too. Let's look at the schedule in its totality here. We could put that on there. So, we see Duncan now. You got a lot of road games after Western Heights, between Western Heights at home than on the road. Only one home game. Mm-hmm. But a couple things. Interestingly, this Millwood game is not a district game, and it's coming up. It'll be a back-to-back, basically, because it's a Saturday game in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. How did this game get on the schedule?
Kind of with Coach Torrey and the boys. We were kind of iffy about it because it's a lot of games. But the girls wanted to play. I have, luckily for me, a lot of their players. I got 4 of them transferred in over. We call ourselves the Midwest City Falconettes. But
Noah's nickname.
But so it was just a good opportunity for us. It's a lot of games, but we're just kind of getting us ready for the playoff time because, that's a lot of games back to back to back. So.
Okay, let's put on the schedule one more time. One more thing I want to ask you about. So we know that in recent years you've been in that Norman tournament. That's a very good tournament.
Very good.
Very competitive in December. Mm-hmm. So look forward to watching that. And then Ada tournament in January. You won that last year.
Yes.
And then something's new. You're not going to be in the Moore tournament in late January. You're going to go to Shawnee instead.
Yes.
What went into that decision?
We decided it over the summer or late, probably April, May, just trying to get some more 5A opponents. 5A and 6A played completely different. And so I want to be prepared for 5A playoffs. And so it was something we just kind of talked about. We're in the Norman tournament, which is 6A. Fast-paced. They're going to be, what we're used to playing. And so I just wanted to switch it up a little bit, get us some new looks, some different looks that maybe that we need to work on more because now with the way playoffs and districts are, we don't have to win those tournaments. It's just kind of like a pride thing. And so it's more about what kind of things we need to work on for playoffs.
All right. Ladies, last question for you, maybe a couple more questions here, but what's going to be important? What's going to be important for this team now that they're new? Not new, but new players in different roles, that they've had to replace a lot of production from last year.
Staying locked in.
Yeah.
We staying together.
We got to learn how to play as a team.
Yeah.
We'll have to. A lot of people are going to have to step up.
Yeah. And don't let you get in front of we.
Right.
Yeah.
We got to be greater than me. Got to be. Got to be.
24/7.
Any scrimmages over Thanksgiving week?
Yeah, we will play Shawnee the Tuesday, 10 a.m.
We'll be there?
At our place.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So it'll be a good test for us. They got some move-ins. A Division I athlete moved in. So it'll be really good. It'll be tough for us, which we're used to that. We like to, I'm the coach that likes to play all the tough teams to see where we're at. I don't want somebody easy, so.
No, wait, Shawnee, did they move east in 5A?
Yes.
Okay, good news for Carl Albert, I guess. But
Yeah.
or maybe everybody in the west
And
side.
yeah, the west side is pretty packed in my opinion. We have about 7 of us that could go to the state tournament any given night. So
That'd be like, considering you guys in that category,
Mhm.
of course, Del City, class in SAS,
Yes.
Carl Albert,
Mhm.
El Reno,
Mhm.
and I think Guthrie also went east, so I can't say them. I don't remember. I'm not.
Yeah.
I have to look at the other just a little bit
Duncan,
more. Oh yeah,
I think
Duncan.
they'll be able to prepare for it. And then Lawton Mack is over
Oh,
there with
yeah, of
Carl
course.
Albert. So they always figure it out. So
That's right. All right. Well, we look forward to that. Our first game should be when we hope to get this game on. We got to rely on another crew for this, but when they go to Lawton on December 10th, we hope to have that game on the Oklahoma Sports Network. All right, Coach, ladies, thank you very much, and we look forward to putting your games on the network. Some of the big ones: Del City, Lawton, maybe, and Altus, and it's exciting. All right, so you know when to that they have a home scrimmage on next Tuesday against Shawnee. Go support them if you can. After all, there's no school so that week, so it's they can do the morning scrimmages. And first game, December 3rd, hosting Duncan. It'll be at Midwest City. So be sure to support the Lady Bombers as they go for another appearance in the state tournament. Oh, by the way, you guys happy that the state tournament is going to be in the big house?
coming from a small school girl, yes. It's a different environment. I don't know if they're quite ready. She came from a small school, Millwood, so she probably seen it. That the environment's totally different. So I think it's a cool, awesome opportunity for them.
Okay, so Sadie, you went to Millwood then?
Yes,
for a bit.
my
Okay,
freshman
you have to be looking forward to that game then.
Yes.
Okay.
Very excited.
All right. Well, we appreciate talking again about Midwest City girls basketball. Coming up, we'll talk Midwest City boys basketball right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Whataburger's new Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double.
Sounds like a 5-alarm fire.
Not really, Frank. The jalapeno cream cheese, jalapeno ranch, and pickled jalapenos give it a pleasant heat.
So like a 4-alarm?
Nope. It's a delicious controlled blaze.
Like a little kitty stuck in a tree alarm.
Nah, hotter than that. Let's say the 2.5 alarm Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double. I think the pole's broken.
New Whataburger Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double. It's just a little hot.
Let's go, baby. It's game day, baby. Oh, man. Are you ready? What's up, man? It's game day. These glasses off, man. What's up, James? What's up, baby? Lace them up, little Joe. I ain't ready to play, man. Man, got practice today, man. Let's go. Boy, heavy. I ain't ready to play over shaking hands and stuff, man. Please. Please. Motion, motion, motion. Go, TJ. Go, TJ. Motion, motion, motion. Go, go, come back door, back door. Y'all ain't ready to play, man. Need a song, man. Can we get a song? You got your phone out on the bench? That's crazy. Motion, motion. Other side, other
All right, that video you saw was of the current Midwest City head boys basketball coach, Torrey Noel, back when he was a Division I player at Lamar 8 years ago. Coach, I like that you shared that video on Facebook, so we had to play it to show everyone what you were part of at Lamar here. How did you get selected to be the straight man in that skit?
Man, to be honest, I couldn't even tell you. I do remember just coming in days before we went to go play Oregon State on the road. Coming into the locker room, our media team was just like, we have an idea. And then they kind of asked who could pretty much starring that role, and a lot of people said me, and I stepped up and did it, but at the time I was like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Hey, you're a good actor then. We could hear your, how you can elevate your voice, all that stuff you're doing. I'm sure when you're playing at Midwest City High School, running motion or whatever that was. But no, that was pretty cool, and it's a good reminder that you were Division I for Lamar, and that's part of your background here.
For sure.
And now you are the head coach of the defending 5A champs. How has that changed you, by the way, winning a state championship? And I know because your team was celebrated for many occasions after that too. What's it been like having that title?
I would say, it's been a little up and down, a little humbling too as well. It was a good feeling, but like we're at a point now where we want to move on and see if we can go ahead and get another one or something like that. So,
at what point do you start to? What's the message like? I guess when you got to bring your players back in, I don't know, it was April, May, or whatever. You got to be like, okay, last year's over. We won. That's awesome. Now we got to put that behind us. What was the message like?
It's tough, man. Like it's still days where they kind of, lean on it and stuff like that. And I just kind of tell them like, if there's something y'all want to do again, like it's going to be harder. We almost have to be perfect in a sense, especially with losing all the talent that we had last year.
Right, you lost a couple of key seniors in Roy Henderson and Brian Williams, and then Carl Sean Young moved on in the summer to a prep school in Arizona. What was the off season like when you had summer league in June? I think. So now you're putting the returning players together, and they're playing against some competition that knows they're the 5A champs. So they want a shot of you, or a piece of you, whatever. What was that like?
It was kind of difficult, man. We had a lot of players. We had a few that returned, but with different roles. So at least 3 or 4 returners that played maybe 10 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
Now they got 20 minutes a game under their belt. So it's kind of difficult just to adjust on that side of things with experience.
All right, and then preseason, same deal, or do you see like the team's not getting more comfortable in the scrimmages you've had?
I still think it'll take a few games and just a few reps to get to where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it like last year we dropped 2 early games, and then by January we was in playoff form. So just based off last year, that's kind of what I'm looking to. Just keep working each day, each practice, each game, each rep, just to get to where we need to be.
Okay, I'm going to play a little game with you here where I'm going to guess your starting 5. Now, I did this with Coach Malloy or Coach Knight, and I got 4 out of 5 right. I did this a couple years ago with the Middale coaches. I forgot to do it last year. So, honestly, when I found out that Carl Sean was moving on, I know exactly who I think their starting 5 will be. And, give me a score if I'm wrong, but obviously you got your returning scorer, Deshaun Denson, and then your other returning starters, Mason McKenzie. So I would throw him in my guess. And then the 3 rotation players who played in the state championship game against Booker T last year, I'm going to guess that they're going to be projected as starters here, and that's Mark Jackson, Caleb Stevens, and then a guy who played out of his mind in that game, Jarvis Nash. How'd I do?
I think you did pretty good, but to be honest, man, it just depends on who shows up, night in, night out.
Okay.
In practice and things like that. Like some of them pretty much slip up at times. Last year I changed my lineup like almost every other game, so it
That's
just
true.
Depends on what's needed or things like that.
Okay, so you're not sure yet?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well I know you've gotten. Let's talk about the players that I mentioned here. Deshaun Denson, you can tell he's a gym rat. And he works on his game a lot. His dad's one of your assistant coaches. And, just an incredible shooter. How has he gotten better?
He's grown a little bit. He's got a little weight on him.
Yep.
He's still learning as far as that leading role. He don't really talk as much, but he lead by example by just doing the little things every day in practice. But Just growing his mind every day, you know, being a good teammate and things like that. So he's grown a lot. He's getting a little athletic now. He's starting to dunk the ball consistently. So
okay. And I know he's getting some lower D1 looks.
Yes, he had a few looks. He had a few colleges been, you know, calling in. So
okay, and he's only a junior, so look forward to seeing how that develops for him. And then Mason McKenzie was one of the most impressive players because he basically took on the responsibility of guarding the other team's biggest player. And I was impressed with how good he was. He knew what to do. He knew how to battle the taller players. And you expect more of the same from him?
Yeah, he'd be a mismatch problem for sure. Just being the smaller guy that can play inside out and things like that, and able to be physical and guard bigs and step out on the perimeter and guard some wings as well.
And Mark Jackson, the thing that impressed me about him, I always thought he was very accurate in that corner three. And so just him and the team in general, do you like where they are from a shooting standpoint?
Oh, yeah, we would definitely be able to shoot the basketball at a high level. That's kind of the confidence I want to give my guys. And we get those type of reps every day in practice. So I want them to be confident in stepping up and shooting when they have the opportunity.
Okay, so football season ended, and that means you got in Brandon Dixon and then a new player for you, so a move-in, and Chance Davis, who goes by Bubba, at least for football he does. I don't know if you guys call him Bubba or not. Okay, and they just joined the team now this week. How are they looking?
It's a process, man. I think they've had 2 practices now. They've been in and out of practice, you know, just watching and talking to the guys. And it's going to be a matter of just, you know, repping things out and getting a good feel for the game and practice.
Is there anyone else who may be new to those of us who watched your team last year that you would expect to get a solid amount of playing time even in a close game that we haven't talked about yet? Or maybe we'll just stop with that question.
Kenyon Brown, KB, and then Aiden Sutton. Those 2 are about 6'5" and 6'3" physical bigs. And I think they can help us not have guards guarding a big, you know, throughout a game. So I think that'll be big for us.
Okay. And then let's go ahead and show the new district for Nova City boys, same as girls. So let's go and put that on the screen here. And we're going to see, again, the same group, but obviously with boys it'll be a little different. So, Coach, I'm expecting Del City, whenever they get their football players to be good, that'll be an interesting thing to watch, is how long they have to wait for their football players to come over. And Lawton High has been really good at regular season team in 6A for the last few years. They've had some early playoff exits, but that's in 6A. So I view those 2 teams as 2 of the teams you've got to worry about. But how would you break down that district?
As far as what, ranking-wise, or just
who do you think will be the challenging opponents?
Definitely be Lawton High and Del City, man. That Del City atmosphere, you know, is second to none. You know what I mean? No matter what you have on paper, when you have a big crowd like that, all this talent just goes out, and it's just about who has heart. And Coach Lindy Hatcher at DLC does a great job with, you know, instilling confidence in the little things with his guys. So.
Yes, but and you guys, let's go and show their schedule. So you're going to play Del City, I think, December 17th. And if they can somehow get past Carl Albert football state championship game, they'll have a lot of returning players there just got done with football, so they may be a little rusty. That'll be something to watch for. But what's interesting about this, and Coach, I don't know, you remember Aaron Young from Evan Memorial?
Yes.
Right? Well, his dad was my high school coach, my junior and senior year.
Lawton.
And Lawton Christian.
Okay.
And that's also where his older brother went
at
LCS before he got a Division I opportunity at Drake.
Aaron.
So let's go and keep the schedule up, though, for a bit here. Now, the reason why I mentioned that is looking at your schedule reminded me, even though this was a long time ago when I played, because I played at a school that didn't have football. What does that mean? It means I had regular season games before Thanksgiving, and that's what you guys have at this deal at Douglas, right? This is not a scrimmage. These are actual games.
Actual games, correct.
So that's interesting. Normally with 5 and 6A schools, you don't play your first game until the Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Correct.
So this is something that's different. And I played a bunch of games when I was before Thanksgiving as a player. When I coached middle school is obviously a different time set. They have a lot of games before Thanksgiving. And now you guys will have that. How did this deal at Douglas go about? And Can you tell us more about who maybe your opponents are and what time the games will be? It'll be this weekend, right?
Yes. I got my man, Coach Eric at Douglas. He, I think this is year 2 with him putting on the showcase. And I think with the district change, it kind of allowed us to, schedule games here and there. So that's kind of what I honestly want to do with us going into district play, is kind of getting us a lot more better games. That way we can be prepared for playoffs. Typically playing early before Thanksgiving is not something I like to do because I don't have my football guys. For example, they 2 weeks in and we play Friday and Saturday. So that's pretty much the tough part. We're getting them instilled with the things that we do on a daily basis. But at the end of the day, it's not about the wins and losses. It's about, progressing and getting to where we need to be before playoffs start.
Okay, but we see on the schedule, because you probably didn't know yet when you put together who you're playing and when. So what can you tell us? Is this Friday and Saturday? Is that correct?
Yes. Friday we play North Little Rock out of Arkansas.
Okay.
Really good team. They have a lot of NBA players that came out of that program. So I'm thinking that'll be a real physical game. And then we play RWG out of Dallas. I'm not really familiar with them, but I've been watching film over them lately. But as far as North Little Rock, I'm definitely familiar with, how they do things over there.
And what time? The North Little Rock game is the Friday game, right? What time?
Friday game is at 8:30, and then the Saturday game is at 3:30.
Okay.
I may have to confirm that. It's either 3:30 or 4:30.
And normally I wouldn't want to know about someone else's stream, but I'm going to ask anyway. Do you know if these games might be streamed by any chance?
I will try to figure that out, and I can get back with you on that.
All right. And then I'll have the same question here in a moment. But then you kind of took the lead to schedule the Millwood game on December 7th. And what gave you that idea? Also, I guess you're close with their coach.
Yeah, man. I think I like to give what the people want to see. I think that'd be a great atmosphere. I think a lot of people come out to that game. And then just my brother Dorian Williams at Millwood is doing a great job over there. So I think we just kind of did it for for the culture and what people would like to see.
I think Bubba will be looking forward to that.
That too, man. Just a little bit of everything,
Yeah, I love that storyline, and the girls have that going too. All right, let's look at the schedule one more time. I'm sorry to my producer here, but there's some interesting things going on. Okay, finally, the thing to ask you about is you dropped 2 tournaments, the Edmond tournament and the PCI, which you won last year. You added those games we just mentioned, so those are the extra games that kind of replace the tournament. But then you also have this tournament in Dallas over Christmas break. How did that come about?
Just friends I knew, coaches I knew that just kind of threw it out there, and I think it'd be a good experience just to get these boys some out of state exposure in games. So. That's a big one. You have Duncanville, you have DeSoto, you have
those are big
Grand
names.
Prairie, you have Lancaster, you have Beaumont United. A lot of good Dallas teams that'll be in it. So it'll definitely be some good competition to see where our boys are at, and to get that national exposure to see what they need to work on.
Well, I'll definitely ask you. I'll ask you now and remind you then that whatever streaming information you can pass on, because I want to definitely watch some of those games. I know Del City did something similar 2 years ago in a different part of Texas, or the Dallas Metro, where there's the Whataburger special, and I actually went with them for that. That was pretty cool. And then finally, you played in the state tournaments up in Tulsa, and recently we had Norman. Now they're going to move 5A and 6A to the Big House in the state fairgrounds. I'm sure you've been there. I don't know if you've ever.
My first time being there was last year.
Okay.
Crazy. Because we always played at Oral Roberts, so we was in state, and I wasn't able to come down and watch, at the Big House. But I think it's a good experience. I am kind of upset that I didn't get to play at OU, but I did coach there, so I'll take that win. But I think it'll be a good atmosphere playing at the Big House, man. It's because I heard so many good things, and then just being in there is ridiculous.
All right, something to shoot for, and I actually have not watched the game there. I know that's where I don't know if it's the same building as we have our graduation.
So yes, that's exactly where it's at. But they're building a new arena right next to it.
Right.
So,
and they'll be ready to go.
I think it'll be ready to go.
Okay.
Right.
Well, you know what? I think when I look at the teams out west, obviously you guys, Del City makes it every year. Lawton High will be a contender. Lawton MacArthur moved over to the other district. Carlsbad makes it every year. bit more inexperienced, but you can't count them out in El Reno. So those are like the 6 teams I think will be very competitive. Anyone else?
Booker T.
Oh, out east, but yeah, Booker T.
Oh, okay, east. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah.
And did you scrimmage Booker T?
We did scrimmage them, yes.
But I don't know if they had any players still in football because their football team's still playing.
No, they have pretty much. They returned everybody, too. So
that Mitchell kid, was he like the starting center? He was a freshman?
He was a freshman.
He doesn't play football?
Doesn't play football.
He's got a football body.
He does.
He could probably be close to D1 player in football if he wanted. But anyway, basketball's his thing. Obviously, he's good at that, too. That'll be a team to look out for because they bring back everybody. Mm-hmm. And it was an unbelievable game, that state title game.
It was crazy, man. It was definitely crazy.
And you guys got down 12 or 13 early and clawed back, and it was back and forth in the final minute. I'll never forget that game. All right, well, Midwest City's going to try to win a second state title in a row. I think it's something they did back in 2000, 2001. And they're going to try for it again, and they got the team to do it. And like I said, we'll have their games hopefully in Lawton and Altus. Those won't always be broadcast by me, but other people will have those games on. And, of course, the Del City games will be on the Oklahoma Sports Network and then the postseason. And you can follow them in some of the other games as well. So, all right, Coach, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate all the coaches and players who came. And we look forward to coming back next week, depending on how things go with the football teams. Remember, Del City's game for football is broadcast starts at 6:30 this Friday when they host Bishop McGuinness. And Carl Albert, same time, they'll be hosting a game as well against Claremore. So we look forward to watching those games on the network. And then at some point we'll be transitioning to basketball. So once again, I want to thank Alicia for producing, Dedrick for moving the camera around. You've been watching the Mid-Del Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Thanks for watching this presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.